Thank you, all, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you, Chairman. And all those speakers who preceded me, thank you very much. I particularly was pleased to hear the member from Toko Sayangrandi, our candidate for Toko Sayangrandi. And as we draw nearer to the election, we'll have more and more candidates. I look around me to see if there are any more. I haven't seen any more as yet. But I know we have one here, Dane Francois. Where is he? Nigel is also here from Lopino Bonnier. And who else? Well, okay, fine, but they're all here. At least most of them are here. Mr. Chance, Nigel, Dane, and others. As the weeks go by, from a tactical and strategic point of view, we'll announce more and more candidates. But we shall leave the vast majority of them after the UNC has announced theirs. I am told that they're getting trouble to find candidates. And if they're getting trouble to find candidates now, you could imagine what's happening. They can't even find a candidate for Siparias yet. Right? Imagine. But I want to say to you tonight that I'm happy to be in Enterprise, the ILP team Enterprise, at a time when everybody is running from Enterprise. Everybody in the country today is running from Enterprise. And we in the ILP tonight have come to Enterprise. Because the ILP politics is the politics of inclusion, while the other parties, their politics is one of exclusion. And that's the major difference. Because at the end of the day, we don't believe in alienation or in ostracism, but we believe that we are one happy family, and sometimes when your children fall by the wayside, you have to pick them up and work with them. I'm also feeling at home because here in Enterprise is where, as a young man, I had many friends. I know that we play football, for example, as a young man, on the Olympians ground in the back. They call it African ground today, I believe. We played, of course, people like Clary Ben, right? These people are Clary Ben and Samuel Jones, and of course, Gordon. All these people played football. Those were happy days. We were able to catch bird, and sometimes when Palm Spring come to Enterprise, it's a big event, and vice versa. Those were the days when the train used to pass through Enterprise still. And you had a halt here, and also you had depot halt up the road, and was Longdonville against Enterprise and so on. Those were the days when you pass through Enterprise Road and you get your cashew nut, and you get them by the half tin and so on, and go and roast those cashew nuts. And you'll share it in the village. Those were happy days. Happy, happy days. What has got wrong? What has gone wrong? Before I tell you what has gone wrong, I want to make two apologies tonight. One apology I want to make is for where Chairman Rekha Ramjit ended. And I became very incensed. I became very incensed when the president of this country could refer to those persons who oppose him as having rum shop logic. If he has rum shop friends, that's his business. If he was appointed by a rum shop government, that is his business. But it's wrong for him to lump all those persons who sensibly oppose him for his foolishness as rum shop logic. Let me show you rum shop logic, my friends. When he decided to appoint two persons to a commission that has been tainted, that is rum shop logic. When he decides to appoint two persons to a commission 67 days before a general election, when you know you have to consult the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, and Kamala would be neither, he appointed them all the same. 67 days to go. That is rum shop logic. But the point is, the the president has shown his hands, and he has shown that he's in the hands of the politicians. And the same way, they are filling all the embassies overseas with people on 3-year contracts. So the government that comes in will have to buy out these contracts. The same way they are putting all the state boards on long term. The same way they are trying to get the last ounce out of independence celebration. The same way they are hoping, and they hope, to conclude everything possible in 67 days. He too, like them, fills the Integrity Commission with 2 persons. But worse yet, this is a multiracial society. This is a cosmopolitan society. And a commission like that commission should reflect the plural nature of this society. Look at the commission of 5. He has them there. You look at them for yourself and tell me if you believe that commission is reflective of the country. My friends, you know why I apologize to you tonight? I apologize to you tonight because I was part of that cabinet that made this monumental mistake. If anything today is a national embarrassment, that president is. And I tell this to you, it's not possible. But if it were possible, he and Kamala should live together. But I'll say more in next week's Sunshine. I will do on him an editorial just for his sake. I can't understand rump shop logic to people who oppose him justly, rightly, lawfully. My second apology to you tonight is Stephen Cadiz. I sat down in a screening committee, and I was among those 5 persons who picked Stephen Cadiz. At one point in time, the Prime Minister didn't want him. She found he was living too far in Maraval. She found that he did not understand the community, the society. She felt he couldn't walk down among the people. He couldn't empathize with them. And I said, Prime Minister, give him a chance. You need some color in the food. Right? Give him a chance. That man came on the back of Keith Noel. You heard them tonight. And people thought that was empathy and understanding. And Cadiz has been the worst example of a minister. He has been the worst example of a representative. Over the last 2 days, I have been walking through this place trying to make peace with the gang leaders. I've gone through the back, all in Francois Street. I've gone through Longdonville. I've gone through Bagaloo Trace. I've gone through Krong Trace, talking to the gang leaders and telling them, let's bring this to an end. Today, I'm happy to say I succeeded. Yeah! But for how long? I don't know. I know that when I was Minister of National Security, I walked through Laventil, and for 35 days, not a shot. And I asked the people of Enterprise, especially the gangs, I asked them, don't give me 35 days, give me 35 years. 35 years. The young people here must feel that they have a place in the sun. And therefore, I want to say thanks to those guys who met with me. Half an hour ago, I met with the last guy. We sat down and discussed his family. He showed me his children and homework and books and so on. I said, if you don't behave, you will not see those things. And therefore, they understood. And I want to say publicly again, thanks to those guys who have agreed to bury the hatchet and begin afresh. Yeah! But where was Stephen Cadiz in all of this? Where was Stephen Cadiz? He was in Maraval. He don't even know where Chrissy Trace is. He don't even know where Bagaloo Trace is. He does not even know where Francois Street is. He does not even know where Crown Trace is. In fact, he does not know where Chaguanas East is. That is your MP. And therefore, it is left to me to apologize to you. It seems to me as if the rest of my life I have to be apologizing. And the biggest hurt of all is Kamala. Kamala, but I'll come to her later. Later. At the end of the day, I say to you again that things here must get better. Must get better. You see? It can't get worse. And I make the point to you, the guns that these young men have in Enterprise aren't guns from Enterprise, you know. There is no gun factory here, as Dane said. Those guns are coming to Chatham and Cedros. And those guns coming here weekly. And when those guns coming here also, they're bringing babies from Venezuela. There's a racket now in the south, in Chatham and Cedros, where Venezuelan babies are coming here 6 per week. 6 per week. Things are bad over there. And they are saying, well, go to Trinidad and make a new life. And that is known by many persons. That is known even by many police officers as well. And therefore, you come to Enterprise, where the young men believe that a gun is the fastest way to get mobility, and you blame them. You have to stop the source. Stop the source. And you can't tell me that what I've said tonight is news to you. Go to Cedros. I went there as minister. I saw for myself. I told them the radar was not working then and to fix it. It ain't fixed yet. I went there. I told them that where they had the immigration officers and the custom officers and the army was bad. Fix it. Nothing being done. What kind of patrols they had? I have asked for coastal police stations. None. I have asked for the army camp to be located at different points around the country. None. You know why none? Because the guys who are bringing the drugs and the guns are financiers of this government. Of this government. And therefore, it is a government advantage. It is to their advantage to have either nobody as Minister of National Security, as they have now, or to have weakling. Imagine you have a country as this that is being swept over by war, violence. In the ministry that has to look over this country's safety, in 5 years, you have 5 ministers. And if it's 5 years and 3 months, don't be surprised if you have 5 and a third minister. That's what we have. 5 ministers in your most important ministry. And you want to blame Enterprise for that? 5 ministers. 5 ministers. You have police officers who we all know. We all know who they are. And we know that these police officers, many of them are not honest. I was stopped by Kamala and Munilal from asking that police officers declare their assets. The police had agreed. The welfare had agreed. Stephen Williams agreed that every year levies your assets. Why it is, of course, on a policeman's salary, you live like a king. So let's see your asset. Nobody objected in the police. Nobody objected in the Welfare Association. But Munilal and Kamala told me no. So they said, of course, Jack, that's difficult. 7,000 police officers. How we go see their assets? I say, Kamala, let's do a random selection. 10, 20, by ballot, pick 10, 20, 30, 40. Random selection. But it doesn't have it for a start. Let them know that we're interested. My friends, they are police officers today, that are more wealthy than Munilal. And that is saying plenty. That is saying plenty. And therefore I'm saying it is unfair to come to Enterprise and blame Enterprise for what's happening today. Because Enterprise is a depressed community. Very depressed, I'm saying to you. When you look around at Enterprise, Enterprise is a community that is surrounded by wealthy communities. And when you're poor and depressed, and all around you is wealth, you feel poorer. If you're a short man and you're by yourself, it's no problem, you know. But when you're by a short man next to a tall man, you're short like hell. You're short like hell. Enterprise, same thing. Enterprise, same thing. So therefore, in Lunch Park, to the west of Enterprise, you have Lunch Park. Wealth, no problem. To the east of Enterprise, you have Hillview Gardens in Longdonville. Wealthy, no problem. To the north of Enterprise, you have Point Pleasant. Point Pleasant Park to the north. Wealthy, no problem. And to the south, you have Montrose. Wealthy, no problem. In the middle, you have a sea of poverty. That is Enterprise. So how do you fix that? KDs, for 5 years and 3 months, what do you do to fix that? Nothing. Let me tell you something. The PNM, to their credit, we're building a community center for Enterprise, and it was 90% completed when they left office. Manning his wisdom, or lack of it, after 3 years called an election a second time and lost. And because he called it before time, the center was 90% completed. Today, 5 years and 3 months after, it is 90% completed. The same way, KDs did not put a brick, not a stone, not a pebble. He put nothing. He came with nothing to Enterprise. He came with nothing, but he left with his pocket full. Every one of them has ridden the backs of the people. They come for your vote and ask you for your vote and say, we shall rise. And they are rising. Some of them barely will tell you the truth. They're rising. All of them rising. Look around them. Go to their homes. See where they live. See their swimming pools. And ask yourself, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, where that come from? Where that come from? I say again and again and again and again, these guys couldn't buy doubles. They couldn't buy doubles. They couldn't buy a Harley filet. They couldn't buy a case of ball. Today, they could buy the whole factory. And you have not risen. Enterprise, ask yourself, in 5 years and 3 months, have you gotten your fair share? $400 billion spent in this country. Have you gotten your fair share? And they'll come back to tell you, vote for me. But let me tell you something. You could do it if you want to. Do it if you want to. But I tell you, your children will pay a price for that. What, therefore, are the major issues in Enterprise? We all know it. Crime, unemployment. You heard them tonight. Unemployment, infrastructure, and so on. I went to some roads there. I tell you, walking through there, talking to some gang men, my ankle almost twists. You are telling you? Twist. You will not see an unpaved road in Siparia. You will not see an unpaved road in Debe or Penal. Why the hell you have it in Enterprise? Why? Why they call Enterprise Little Laventille and they call it Little Westmoreland? Why not? But they call here Little Laventille because crime, violence, unemployment, these are the things that affect you like Laventille. Like Laventille. And you have to ask yourself, if this is society you want for your children. In Laventille, like here, the people can't own the land. In Enterprise, the people don't own the land. And therefore, they can't get access to all the grants. House grant, HEC grant, Netco grant, and so on. You can't get because the land is not yours. And therefore, I tell you, when the IB get the power, one of the first things we shall do is a land settlement scheme. Land settlement scheme. Land settlement scheme. And we are giving you no letter of comfort, you know. Letter of comfort, meaningless. You can't go to the bank with that. If you die, it's not children own. We're giving you deeds for the land. You can't access roof grant. You can't access electrical grants. Nothing. Small business can be can be expanded. NITCO can lend you money. The small business grant you can't get, all because you have no land. And while this is happening, children upon children are being born daily with no place to play, no recreation place. That is happening to Chaguanas East. Chaguanas East. And if you want to understand where I'm coming from, you go to Chaguanas West, where I was minister until 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And Chaguanas West, it has become a paradise. And it can be so here as well. Go to Felicity. That's right. Go to Felicity. Look at Tahadil Road. Look at Abid Road. Look at Pierre Road. Look at Kakandi Road. Look and see for yourself. Look at the Bridge and Asfaf Road. Go to Kudilal Trace. Look at for yourself. And see how a whole community was transformed. That the people there said, in 5 years, Chaguanas did what the UNC hadn't done in 25. I didn't say so. That is why I could have gone back to Felicity, Chaguanas West, for the by-election and beat Khadija hands down. I wasn't afraid. I knew in Chaguanas West, the people are not ungrateful. And in the coming weeks and months, they'll have to prove also too that they're still not ungrateful. So therefore, I'm making the point to you, Enterprise. The time for you to decide is now. And the answer is not to say you're going back to PNM, you know. You have been there. You have been there before. The answer isn't to say you're going PP, you know. You have been there before. That's right. The answer is to take his finger and vote ILP. Yeah. ILP. I love people. ILP. That's the answer. And as my chairman keeps saying again, forget the seesaw politics. Forget that. PNM, UNC. PNM, UNC. The only other constituency that has been neglected like this one is Pointe-à-Pierre. We were there 2 months ago. If you see Pointe-à-Pierre. But Macron couldn't care. He's acting as Prime Minister. Right? He has about 4 or 5 more days to act. And Kamala has to come back. And that's the end. These guys are concerned about the form of office, not the substance. And for me, the substance is important. You know why? Because the substance is hard work. Hard work. And my friends, Enterprise, there can be no substitute for hard work. None. None. In life, nothing comes easily because easy come, easy go. Enterprise, the time to stand up is now. Now. As such, therefore, I'm saying to you that we have to help Enterprise. We have to do that. And the same way I'll be able to do that in Chaguanas West, I want to help you tonight. I want to help you tonight. I pledge 2 things. No. This party, ILP, win, lose, or draw. Win, lose, or draw. We shall help you complete your center from September the 8th. Yeah! Secondly, in that very same center, we shall have evening classes to teach you, especially computer science, maths, and so on. Because unless you're educated, you can't move. You can't move. And therefore in that center, we shall educate you. The third thing we shall do is what I've done in Chaguanas West. Beginning from this year, we shall give to Chaguanas East, and particularly Enterprise, we shall give 3 scholarships to university. Yeah! And as you progress, 4 and 5, as the case may be, because you're why? Unless you're educated, you can't help yourself. In doing so, therefore, is our hope that we can help to lift you. A lot of people tell you that they are not coming down to your level. That's fine. I agree. But I'm saying to you, if they won't come down to your level, at least bring you up to theirs. To theirs. This government isn't doing that. Between Cuba and Siparia, you have more millionaires than the entire Caribbean. Guys who 5 years ago were hungry. Enterprise, you only have one. Not one. When I was talking to the Imam yesterday, he said he wanted to come by for Eid. I said, what do you for Eid? He said, listen, for Eid, we feed about 10,000 people. And so on. The whole day. And we have Bounty Castle and what have you. I said, so where get the money from? He said, we beg and we scrunt and so on and so on. I said, I go help you. I go help you. Because you know why? You know why? That is designed to lift a community. You lift your spirit. You won't be socially deprived and depraved. And in that context, therefore, I will help. Now, there's no way this party or I can do everything. Because sometimes you have to help yourself. And God has told you, right? You only help those who help themselves. Because you cannot expect that the first pan you hear beat, you whine. That can't be the answer. I know tropical angel harps, Pioneers is just down there. I know that. But I'm saying to you, there must be things in life that are more important than fetting. And therefore, look at your family. Look at your family, your young children, and ask yourself if you're being fair to them. So as I close, therefore, I want to tell you the price tonight that the darkest hour is always before dawn. Always before dawn. Consider now September the 7th as your darkest hour. It's up to you to bring in the dawn. But you're going to bring in the dawn only if you're registered to vote. However you like Chaguanas or Waker or the ILP, however you like them, if you are not registered to vote, and then if you don't vote, you're like yourself, and you're like us. So clap, applaud, nice speech and so on. Go home and behave as if stick brick in your ears. And don't go and register, and then cat will eat your supper. At the end of the day, I say the decision is yours. We have to come here and give you the message. We have to come and talk to you. We have to talk to you in a language that you and us, we can understand. But at the end of the day, you have to decide. I'm saying to you again, at the end of every dark cloud, there's a rainbow. Where you have had despair, the ILP is bringing hope. And in this context, therefore, I ask of you to again take this finger and make a difference. They'll give you box drains weeks before. I've never seen more roads paved than they're paving now. All over the country, they're paving by night. All over. You don't know when to leave home because they're paving. You don't know when they're paving. No sign, no date, nothing. Just paving. Because they believe that you're still foolish. They believe they can give you a carrot just before the election and you'll vote for them. So let them pave. Though the roads wouldn't last more than a month, let them pave. Let them give you box drains. Let them give you contracts if you're lucky. At the end of the day, take everything and vote them out. I thank you.